What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Flycap. Welcome back to another Halo 5 video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Halo 5 campaign. Specifically, the story, the plot elements behind it, how it played out. As you can see right here, I'm just showing you guys I have completed every single mission in the Halo 5 campaign a couple times. I think I have about 18 hours total in it. I'm halfway through my solo legendary playthrough. I've found all the intels, all the skulls. So I feel like I'm pretty equipped to talk about the game overall in a campaign setting. Hopefully you guys learn a thing or two and maybe get a better understanding of what's happening in the story. So Halo 5 leaves off pretty much right where the end of Spartan Ops left off in Halo 4. And a lot of people didn't play Spartan Ops, which was the weekly or monthly sort of story-based DLC that Halo 4 had to offer. But actually it was pretty good. I enjoyed the missions for it, and it definitely set us up for Halo 5. So Halsey has been captured. We immediately are going to try to find her and bring her back into Oni among the UNSC Infinity, which was also featured in Halo 4. So really quickly, just wanted to say that a lot of these, the clips in the background, I tried to find things from different parts of the campaign that really gave you a full picture of the types of things that you're going to be experiencing. Here I'm playing on solo legendary and actually was able to run through this part first try without dying. Really I haven't been able to do it very consistently, and this level is very hard on legendary. This game is really hard on legendary, so I was pretty excited to be able to capture it and put it in the video. But back to the story. So Halsey has been captured. We are playing as two Spartan teams in this game. Spartan Locke's team, Team Osiris, which consists of Tanaka, Vale, Buck, and of course Locke himself. And then we have Blue Team, which is made up of Spartan 2s, some of the original Spartans created by Dr. Halsey's Spartan training program. And that was with Petty Chief Mendez. And that is going to feature Kelly, Linda, Master Chief, Spartan 117, John, and Fred. So within those two teams, we have a little bit different character development, a little bit different of dynamics. Blue Team, as I said, is part of the Spartan 2 program. They're much older, much more rugged, much more experienced, and just overall more badass Spartans than the Spartan 4s, which is what Team Osiris is. Spartan 4s can be taken from any branch of the military, from any walk of life. It's basically when humanity needed them, they stepped forward and decided to become the Spartan, and they went through procedures to augment their body and make them stronger, but not nearly as intensive procedures as the Spartan 2s went through, where many of them died in their process. So we have that set up for us, and there's not too much that's told about a Team Osiris unless you look at the background lore and everything else that's happening in the Halo universe. So I'm talking about reading the books, watching the short series, watching the animated series, things like that. And unfortunately, and understandably so, not all the people who play that game do that, and so they were probably quite confused by who these characters were. Spartan Locke used to be a headhunter, so to speak. He worked for Oni. He has a short series called Halo Nightfall about him, which is a TV show, basically, where we get a little bit more background on him. Tanaka also is not very well explained, even in backstories. Spartan Vale, actually, though, is featured in one of the books called Hunters in the Dark that takes place immediately after the events of Halo 3. And she's a really intelligent, she's bilingual, and she actually goes on a trip with a few other Spartans and some elites to the Ark, which is featured in Halo 3, in order to shut it down because it starts up again for a random reason that I'm not going to spoil for you guys if you want to read the book. So that's where she gets her first introduction to the Forerunners, to really more intense combat and things like that, and she decides afterwards, and after that experience, to join the Spartan program. Edward Buck, we know from Halo 3 ODST. He is one of the main characters that you play in that game. His voice acting is fantastic in this game as well. He's a really well-developed, funny, kind of smart-ass character, and he's a nice addition to the team. So he used to be an ODST. He's very experienced in combat. It makes sense that he would transition then to become one of the new generations of Spartans. So that is Team Osiris. Blue Team, Fred, Kelly, and Linda have been all part of John's fire team and Spartan team ever since they were in training together. There was a fifth member, Samuel, who was killed early on, and that is shown in the Fall of Reach animated series that has been coming out pretty recently, and you guys should definitely check that out if you haven't seen it already. So that's a lot of the character development that you miss. A lot of the connections that would make Halo 5's campaign a lot cooler if you knew are not actually presented to you in the game. The story elements are relatively light, and as far as the campaign is concerned, I find it to be probably the least driving, the least motivating one as far as just based on story of any of the Halo campaigns that I've played. That doesn't mean that it's a bad game, however, and I actually found myself really enjoying it, as you can tell from me saying I have almost a full day, 24 hours time spent in it. Much of that comes from the gameplay, and I talked about some of the new gameplay features in my last video on multiplayer for Halo 5, and you've seen me use a couple of them so far if you've been watching the backgrounds. And you know, the level design helps a lot with that too. The game is just a lot of fun to play, and as you can see here in this clip, I'm on a level called Swords of St. Helios, and I'm on the Elite Homeworld, which is something that, like, if you played Halo 1 and 2, is just such a cool idea. You know, Halo 1, 2, and 3, any of the older ones, one of your oldest enemies, and you're on their homeworld. I should speak more to that too, because in Halo 5, you do see the Arbiter again, and he's engaged in a civil war. So as far as the timeline in Halo is concerned, we're after the events of everything, and we're kind of examining in Halo 5 what happens to these two giant forces, the Covenant and humanity, after they're done with their war with each other. How do they rebuild? We see a couple glimpses of human colonies and offworlds that were previously destroyed by Covenant armadas that are trying to rebuild. There's, you know, a couple levels on those in this game that I think are really, really cool. And as well as the intels on the levels that you find give you a little bit more backstory as to some of those things. As far as the Arbiter is concerned, he's in a civil war with the remaining St. Helios, or the elites, and what is left over of them from the Covenant, and he's against them. So he's dealing with his own civil war, and he has his own thing going on. I do think that as far as this game is concerned as well, it's important to situate Halo 5 as a game amongst the trilogies. The Forerunner saga, the Forerunner trilogy, whatever you want to call what 343 has set in motion, is very much so like Halo 2 was in the original Halo trilogy. We got much more exposition on characters outside of the main character. You know, we were introduced to playing for the Arbiter as the first time in Halo 2. We got a little bit more playtime with him, which made it a controversial title. In much the same way, we're playing more as Locke here than we are Master Chief, although he's still a main character. And we're fleshing out the Halo universe to look at new colonies, new generations of Spartans, civil wars among alien races, and the Forerunners. Now, the Forerunners are prevalent in this game. Again, it is part of the Forerunner saga, and there's a new boss that's introduced that I'm not going to spoil for you by showing you any gameplay of him. I purposely avoided showing you that, if you know, in case you're trying to play it. But his name is the Warden Eternal, and the Forerunners are back at it again. One thing that I don't really like so much about the new Forerunner saga, I will say, is that there's no Flood and there's no Brutes. And as far as enemy comparisons are concerned, the Covenant have personalities. As you saw that Grunt just singing, and Jackals will make jabs at you, and Elites will even talk some shit to you. The Forerunners don't really tend to do that. They just kind of seem like robots with no personalities. And I at least thought the Flood were scary and that the Brutes were goofy. So I would hope they would bring them back. Maybe we can hope for the Flood in Halo 6 just for the one last hurrah. I really think it would be great. But other than that, the Forerunner enemies in this game are harder than they were in Halo 4. They've added a new type, the the Forerunner Soldier, which is able to teleport and dash around. Really, really difficult on Legendary to deal with, and very hard to kill. But one thing they have done is balanced all the weapons in the campaign. So unlike other Halo games where on Legendary you found yourself picking up a rifle, a one-shot kill weapon, and a plasma pistol, in this every single weapon is viable, and the Forerunner weapons have been buffed or made stronger so that they're actually really, really important to pick up. So I do like how they did that. Touching on a couple other things in the campaign that I noticed that got rid of par time and par score, which might not be a huge deal for a lot of people, but Master Chief Collection, Reach, ODST, and 3 all featured par times and par scores for every mission within the campaign. What this meant is that you could go back and try to beat the level in under a par time, or beat the level and achieve a certain score. And this added a layer of replayability to the campaign that while the game, you know, it's already really fun, you're already going to want to replay it, but having those extra challenges and those achievements made it that much more fun for someone like me. And I might be in the minority on this, and perhaps they'll be patching it, but I found it disappointing. If you're seeing this, you're also aware that they got rid of split screen in Halo, and while that is a bummer, I do think that the game runs and looks fantastic at 60 FPS at 1080p. Halo is one of those franchises that is always played with friends, however, and so as an overall point, I would say that it's at a detriment to the game. It's one of the few shooters that a lot of people enjoy the campaigns very thoroughly, and they'll play it with their friends, and getting rid of that ability and getting rid of the ability to play it on split screen really hurt it. Additionally, the skulls are back, as I said in the beginning of the video, and you have to find them all now, which is great. In MCC, they gave you them all unlocked, and you could pick them and turn them on, but now you have to find them. Some of them are in really creative ways in order to even access them, and I do like the difficulty scaling for the game. Easy feels like you can speedrun it, and Legendary feels like you actually have to use a whole bunch of tactics. So overall, I'm really enjoying the game. Hopefully this video was able to clear up a couple things for you guys and maybe get some points out there that you agree with or disagree with about the campaign. If you've played it, let me know in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What about it made you feel that way? And also, if you're looking to look at more of my content, I am doing writing now for a website called You Nerded. I'm really excited to be working with them, so go ahead and check that out if you want. Anyway, it's been your boy Flycap, and until next time, I will catch you later. Peace.